Today we're talking about the top 5 dude movies of all time.
Well, all these practical stunts that are just truly astonishing.
Scene with the guitar and the flamethrower.
That comes into a tough moment where you have to choose between a promise to a friend and a duty to one's country.
We are 3 movie-obsessed dudes, and film is one of the ways we make sense of the world. The stories we grow up on, heroes, villains, flawed men trying to do the right thing. We think about courage, justice, loyalty, and sacrifice. By the time those instincts show up in voting booths, news feeds, and policy debates, the real work has already been done in dark theaters and living rooms. That's why we take movies seriously. They're not just entertainment. They're the myth factory that shapes what a culture believes is normal, noble, or necessary. In other words, politics really is downstream of culture, and culture is downstream of the stories we keep hitting play on. We're the Pop Culture Contrarians, Andrew, Ron, and Sterling, and I'm trying not to break everything. Today, we're talking about the top 5 dude movies of all time. We are the Pop Culture Contrarians. We're brought to you by the Patriot Post, which is the oldest and best conservative news digest on the web.
Yes.
Go like and subscribe to that. That is the best way to support us. The next best way to support us is to go to YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're watching this. If it's YouTube, hit that bell icon. But just give us a 5-star rating. Let us know what we should talk about. And give us your top 5 dude movies.
Because we're talking about dude movies, we need you to take a sword and violently smack that bell. It may harm your computer, but we cannot be held liable.
That is the price we're willing to have you pay.
That's right. What would constitute the top 5 dude movies? Like, what's the criteria for that? How do we get there?
You want criteria?
Yeah, I want the criteria.
I've got criteria for
Let's talk about the criteria.
I have criteria.
Okay.
It has to be a dude disguised as a dude playing another dude.
You're my... See, that's what I think it is, Damien. I think it's the line.
Yeah?
I don't know if Four Leaf would say that. Would he? Four Leaf?
Were you crying when your hairs blew up?
No.
But we're not talking about Tropic Thunder here, guys. Let's
talk about the criteria.
Let's talk about our criteria. So, first one, guys, I think this is pretty straightforward. It's a dude movie. What is a dude?
It's a man.
A man.
Masculine man.
A masculine man, so we need a masculine point of view.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this is an unassailable criteria. If you disagree, you're wrong. The next criteria, I think it needs to have mythic or archetypal stakes.
Archetypal,
however you want to say that.
Tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
Potato. Archetypal.
Yes, exactly. So it needs to be hero, villain,
Yes.
spy, criminal, whatever.
Cop, robber.
Cowboy, Indian.
And
exactly.
the end of the world is at stake or something. Like, there has to be high stakes, right?
It has to be high stakes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it doesn't technically have to be high stakes. You'll see in some of these movies that the stakes could be higher.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Ron, this is your turn of phrase, so tell me, why does a dude movie need to have feral filmmaking?
Feral filmmaking. What I want to see are really wild visuals and interesting visual direction, like something that is beyond the scope of just what you might normally expect.
Oh, okay. All right.
An interesting take, cinematic or graphically.
So that could be like huge epic expanse, or it could be like weird niche looking things that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, just something that's cool and different. Yeah.
I should have had you explain feral filmmaking to me more clearly earlier, because that kind of ties into another one that we have here, which is eye candy. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing.
I think they tie into each other to some degree, but yeah. Keep going. What's next?
And then the other one, it needs to be a simple moral engine. It's, as you so pithily put it in our notes here, Ron, the bad guy gets smoked.
Yeah.
I think Andrew came up with that line, actually. But yeah, the bad guy should get smoked. Yeah. They should get absolutely blasted.
Yep. Yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, the moral framework is well defined. The protagonist, he knows what he is about, and he's going about it. And then, of course, even the bad guy, you know what he's about,
right?
And he's going about it, and the worldviews collide.
Yes.
Yeah.
There it is.
And then the good guy wins. And there's no namby-pamby, if you kill him, you're just as bad. And we gotta, if you kill a murderer, there's the same amount of murderers in the world. No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
You're a bad guy, we're killing you.
If you kill a murderer.
Cathartic, satisfying, defined moral framework.
Yes. Here are our choices in no particular order, except there is a very
There is a very particular order.
We're going to start at the bottom of our list. So we each brought 5 movies from our own brains, and then we went over them together.
There was a little overlap.
There were some overlap, and then a few movies not everyone had seen, so we'll have those for you as honorable mentions at the end. But starting with the first one everyone's seen and the lowest ranked. Ron, I think this was your pick.
This was my pick. So this was one of the lowest ranked item, though, but it's Blade Runner, the final cut, not the director's cut, not the original theatrical release, not the international theatrical release, but the Blade Runner final cut. It has a masculine point of view.
It does.
Deckard is a burned out solitary cop whose job is killing things that might be more human than he is. The phrase more human than human, right? It's got mythic stakes. And so beneath the noir plot, it's about creator versus creation and what it means to have a soul and a programmed in date of death. These are really weird.
In this case, it really almost has mythic states because there's like elements of like Pygmalion or something like Prometheus, who creates
absolutely.
humans in Greek mythology.
It is in essence the Promethean myth, right? So feral filmmaking, the film drops you into a dense, lived-in future with minimal exposition. Like they don't really explain anything whatsoever. And it just lets the mood and the rain and the neon do the storytelling.
I got to just jump in feral filmmaking-wise on one thing that stands out to me. It's been a long time since I've seen Blade Runner. But isn't that the movie where Deckard, when he's doing his investigation, zooms in on a reflection on a screw?
Yeah, so it's like reflection on a screw, and he bounces it off a mirror and goes around a corner, and there's a person in a bathtub, and he looks at like a,
And 1,000 episodes of CSI were born from that exact shot.
Enhance.
Yeah. I mean, of course, who doesn't love just the smoggy sci-fi neon?
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole mood. It's influenced everything that has come after it. And there's a simple moral engine. There's a clear hunt.
Yeah.
All right. The Blade Runner is he's got to go out and retire these rogue replicants before they reach their maker, and he doesn't quite succeed on that count. But I'll let you watch the film to see what you think about how successful he was. And we spoke to the nature of the eye cannon, smoggy skylines and neon lit streets and all this kind of stuff. It's just really visually compelling. It's very memorable and very clear. So
it certainly is, and it's one of the most alive visions of a now past future that has been brought to screen.
Yeah, now you look back at it and you're like, oh, okay, I can see how they got there, but technology
it's
is
just
actually
interesting because it's set in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Which was like 30 years in the future when it was made.
You think, the technology is so horrifying, right?
Yeah.
You look back and you're like, this is so horrifying. Back when you watched it before this stuff that we experience now, which is truly horrifying, you thought that was really scary future. Now we live in a much scarier one, but Blade Runner still holds up.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It deserves to be on a dude movie list. It's just not top 5. All right. Andrew, this was yours?
Yes, Napoleon Dynamite.
Ooh.
And, at first glance, you'd ask, why? Napoleon Dynamite is like, this guy is not a manly guy. Is there really anyone in the whole film except for maybe Rex Kwon Do?
Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei!
Who is really a manly guy. And the reason why I picked this one is because basically every woman who has ever watched it in my life has walked out in disgust.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Fun fact, when I was 11 years old or whatever, when we went to go see that movie, my whole family walked out in disgust. I think before minute 15 of the movie.
Man.
Oh, man. You got to get to the part where the guy's like, we found some Shoshone arrowheads in that ditch over there, or whatever.
Can't find my checkbook. Mind if I pay in change?
Yeah, it's so good.
Fun fact, that guy actually talks like that.
Yeah, he does.
It was a typecast.
Wow.
Again, Napoleon, Kip, all these guys, they're not manly men. Uncle Rico, he's like, he wanted to be a manly guy.
Yeah.
All these guys are struggling with their masculinity.
Yeah.
And so they're not really exuding masculinity, but for a lot of dudes, it is just like a time in their life where you're trying to figure it out. I think for several of these guys, they're trying to figure it out.
Awkward guys trying to survive together.
Right.
Awkward guys trying to survive together.
Girls only want boyfriends who have great skills. Like nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills, computer hacking skills.
Yeah, that's totally right. It's like, you're just jealous because I've been chatting with hot chicks all day on the internet. Gosh!
Jeez, I think you ripped a mole off. It's so quotable.
It is. It's incredibly quotable. That is one of the aspects of a dude movie is, can you shout really stupid lines at one another and have everyone know what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, so as far as the masculine point of view, it's Napoleon, Kip, and Pedro and Uncle Rico. Pedro, he's the Mexican guy who's running for president or class president.
Vote for Pedro.
Vote for Pedro. Make all of your wildest dreams come true. But they each have like a different flavor. They're stunted, delusional guys trying to scrap together, and they're just trying to have some dignity in a small town.
Yeah.
Mythic stakes, it's
as I said earlier, the stakes could be higher.
Yeah.
But for a teenage guy, this is supposed to be these teenagers. The stakes are incredibly high. Like everything feels like you're under
Just
under
a note for
threat of
teenage
death.
boys: if a pretty girl shows up at your door and asks to give you a haircut, don't say I get my haircut at the cutting corral.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And the stakes, they're pretty low, relative to these other epic movies. But for these guys, like running for class president, having to do like this dance or whatever in front of the whole school, they work for this world.
Yeah.
Feral film. The whole thing's just feral. Like everything about this. It's like a weird Midwest kind of town. It's also a combination
of llamas.
They have llamas that live on the farm there.
What are you going to do today, Napoleon?
Whatever I feel like I want to do. God.
The van, Rico's van.
Eat the food, Tina, you fat lard. But
make yourself a dang
the time
quesadilla.
machine. The time machine.
Yes.
Yeah. So feral is a good word.
It's absolutely a feral movie.
Yeah.
I gotta say, for simple moral engine, what is the plot of Napoleon Dynamite?
Oh,
who cares?
I don't know.
I don't even know, but who cares?
Is there a bad guy?
In like the most sort of esoteric sense, I think you could say that the bad guy is a concept, right?
Yeah, the bad guy is conceptually is like bullying.
Yeah,
it is being demasculated.
That's not a real word.
Demasculated.
Yeah.
I prefer the word demasculated. I'm going with that.
Demasculated.
You can say what you want.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with demasculated.
My demasculinator.
That's what Uncle Rico buys.
Yeah.
That's the time machine.
That's the time machine.
So, anyways, don't want to spend too much time on Napoleon Dynamite. It's a wild card. It's low on the list, but it's a dude movie. It is.
It is a dude movie. All right, Ron, I guess this was your suggestion?
Tombstone. Yeah, man. Tombstone is a killer. Masculine point of view. It's got a lineup of archetypal frontiermen, Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday.
Real characters,
real
too,
characters.
Which is always a plus.
Real dudes that really lived in real dude history. And they're dealing with aging and loyalty in the Old West. The stakes are absolutely mythic. And if you know the story of the OK Corral, the gunfight, Wyatt Earp and all that stuff, you're going to be familiar with this.
This is law versus chaos at its most fundamental.
Yeah, filmmaking is pretty wild. There's epic shootouts. Lots of incredible drama. The cowboys are out terrorizing the town, and the Earps and Doc Holliday decide to put them down.
Yep.
And man, the conclusion is just one of my favorite moments in all of cinema.
I'm your Huckleberry.
As far as eye candy, like it's got the dust, you got the cacti, you got the sprawling brush, you got the town. It's just wonderful.
You got guns.
And you got that.
You got horses.
Yeah.
You got sweeping dusters.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have done kind of a deep dive into the whole shootout at the OK Corral in the past, and Andrew, of course, is our resident expert on this. We will link to some of our episodes where we've talked about this stuff before.
Yep.
All I'm going to say about Tombstone is if you haven't seen it and you're a dude, go watch it.
Yeah. And tell them I'm coming, and tell them.
Tell them hell's coming with me.
I
You gotta say it like
get
Alex
wrong.
Jones.
You do.
Yes.
You tell them hell's coming with me.
All right. Fury Road, Ron. This was your number
Fury
one pick?
Road was my number one pick.
Mad Max.
The reason that Fury Road was my number one pick is this movie is absolutely bananas.
It is,
and
in
it
fact,
doesn't
bananas.
stop. You got Mad Max. He's this damaged and but yet hyper competent loner, and he doesn't say much at all.
No.
And he suffers consistently throughout the film. There's all these terrible, painful things that he gets put through.
For those who haven't seen it, post-apocalyptic in the desert.
It's the craziest thing that you will have ever seen in your life that has anything to do with cars and movies.
It's just like modern day Australia.
So it is modern day Australia.
Oh my
No.
God.
You laugh, but it is. So you think about no. So the stakes are mythic. He's literally fleeing a war party.
It really is mythic in that they've regressed to a mythic time where it's very much more like, city states and stuff like that in this world.
And similar to the previous movies we discussed that has no exposition, as Blade Runner does, like this has very little exposition. There's just like a a post-apocalyptic landscape.
Yeah.
And there are these cult group of war boys that are like banging drums and stuff like that.
I am sending out my troops to the bullet farm.
Yeah, exactly. The filmmaking is some of the most incredible stunt coordination and cinematography I've ever seen.
Are just astonishing.
It's unbelievable. You got these crazy engines. You got all these practical stunts that are just truly astonishing.
Yeah.
You know, the war boys that are jumping up between cars with like these crazy spears that are bending in every direction, thrumming music in the background and whatnot.
The scene with the guitar and the flamethrowers.
Yeah, so the Morton Joe owns people, and the heroes free them and kill the tyrant and the road he thought that he controlled. So they kill the guy, and they eliminate him from the whole equation.
Most simple and just satisfying.
Yeah.
Eye candy, orange and teal desert vistas, incredibly beautiful landscapes. It's a very specific vibe, a very narrow vibe, a very narrow mood, but it's beautiful. Just absolutely bonkers. Cars and machines and minimalist costumes, or not minimalist costumes, maximalist costumes. There are a few minimalist costumes, but speaking of eye candy. Anyway, so it makes every frame like a poster.
So
like
this is your ultimate number one dude movie for Ron.
Because it's just nonstop insanity.
It is nonstop insanity.
And it's also very violent, which is super fun.
All right, we come to my first addition on the list, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But then here's the thing that makes this more dude movie than the others for me. It's Indy and his dad.
Yeah.
And so you get the father-son relationship, which is one of the most significant relationships any man has.
Yes.
And it plays throughout the movie, and it's actually, it comes up quite directly in the climax of the story. Everything works out because of the father. There's that. Everything works out because of the father-son relationship.
Sorry, he said a word that made me think of that.
No, well, I was going to get to that. Mythic stakes. They're literally trying to stop Nazis from getting the Holy Grail. Yeah. That's about as mythic as it gets.
Yes.
Especially in the 21st century. Enough said. You get it. Holy Grail is the cup that caught the blood of Christ. The Nazis are the worst people who've ever lived, according to our culture today.
Except for the current people that currently live, who are also just as stupid.
Yes.
Maybe arguably even more stupid.
All right, but that is neither there nor here or something like that.
The current ones just don't have crazy uniforms. That's really the difference, I think.
And the uniforms is what really sold.
That was the package, the Hugo Boss uniforms that the Nazis wore.
Feral filmmaking. I think for like 15 minutes of this movie, Indiana Jones is hanging off the side of a tank and fighting dudes. Yes. I mean, it's pretty feral. He throws a dude out of a Zeppelin. There's, I really love the bit where it goes to the map and then you just see the dots on the map of them moving. I love that stuff. I love
the speaking of the Zeppelin scene, the part where he has the newspaper and like punches the guy in the face. Wasn't that in the Zeppelin scene?
Yes.
I love that. So good.
And so he throws the dude out the Zeppelin, and then one thing a dude movie needs to have is one-liners, and he says, "No ticket."
No ticket.
And everyone throws up their tickets. Again, simple moral engine. It's Nazis, and they have to get killed in order to save the Holy Grail. I mean, very simple moral engine. Only the penitent man will pass. You have chosen poorly. Yes.
And the guy that ages in front of your eyes.
He turns into a bloody skull.
Yes.
That effect is still just a classic. It doesn't really hold up in the sense that you would, modern movies don't look like that, but it looks great.
It looks great. Eye candy, again, I covered a bit of this, but tanks and horses and, there's an invisible bridge that then it turns the camera angle and it's not so invisible. And, the old guy in the Holy Grail room, it's all great. I'm a big fan of this movie. I really like this movie.
It's a killer show. I gotta watch it again.
You can't really discuss dude movies and not have an indie movie on here somewhere.
That's fair.
So, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. Watch it if you haven't. All right, Ron.
Braveheart. Hold. All right, so William Wallace. Everybody knows the story of Braveheart.
William Wallace is 7 feet tall.
And he can shoot lightning bolts out of his... So he's a peasant turned warrior. His entire identity becomes protecting his people and getting revenge for the murder of his wife, Murren.
Yes.
With a gigantic sword.
With a gigantic sword.
Gigantic, amazing.
Which is a big plus for any dude movie. If you have a sword, good. Big sword, better.
Sword,
biggest sword, best. This is just the way this works.
It's just what we've learned here is you just have to embiggen the swords.
Embiggen the swords.
All right. It's a pretty big industry these days. Anyway, Mythic Stakes. Scotland's freedom is condensed into one man's courage. Every battle is framed as live free or die horribly. And boy, some of those guys die horribly.
Some of the guys die horribly. They were kind of living horribly before.
Well, even the principal character dies horribly.
Most horribly, in fact.
But with honor. And the filmmaking is incredible. The cavalry charges. The cavalry charges. Did I say cavalry?
I think you said it right. First time.
Okay. Well, because my brain always goes, "Whoa, you got to get the V and the L right."
Cavalry.
The horses charging across the field. That's what we're talking about.
Horses. You got mud. You got blood. You got woad. All the blue paint on their faces.
Yes.
It's absolutely
you got mooning people.
You do. Yes.
You got that too. But so the thing is,
you got Scotland and bagpipes.
There's a couple of contexts for that, by the way. But what you'll learn about me is I love absolute chaos in filmmaking. Like I love movies where there's a lot of action, there's a lot of madness. And there's a lot of madness in this.
And where there's a bunch of kilts running around, or Scots running around in kilts hundreds of years before that was a thing.
Scots and kilts before, they got Ilian pipes instead of Scottish pipes.
Yes.
But, let's not split hairs.
Right.
So the moral engine is there's a tyrant oppressor, William Longshanks, and like one of his guys kills the hero's love interest and violates the people, and the hero spends the rest of the movie trying to kill the tyrant's power. So, and he does.
And if you know what the concept of prima noctem is, it's literally because of this movie. It was never a real thing. It was a myth in medieval times. And it's not a thing. Prima noctem was never a thing. It's not real. But it makes you really, really hate the English.
It makes for a good movie. Rolling Green Hills, massed armies, the blue war paint, all these things are the eye candy of the film. And it's marvelous.
Braveheart is actually one of our top 5. I'm not going to spoil, but we've now entered the top 5. So these are the ones you really have to watch. All right, guys. Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
I mean, it is just iconic. The storming of Normandy Beach is solidified in the story of the West, in the story of America, and just epic, incredible, and somber, and frankly, really hard to watch.
I saw it as a teenager, and I couldn't watch it again until maybe a year ago. Like, I was so shell-shocked after watching that movie.
I've still only ever seen it a couple times, and not recently.
Yeah.
Starting out with the male point of view, you literally get embedded with a unit, moving through as they survive D-Day and then push into Normandy, into France. Yeah. And their experience throughout the war as they have a special mission to find one man who has lost all of his brothers and return him to his family. And it's just absolutely gut-wrenching. It is, in times of great struggle and war and just danger, men bond. Yeah. And that is the story that is coming through from that male point of view, which is so satisfying, because I think that is just the essence of the male experience in things like this. Yeah. I mean, it has mythic stakes because the mission is small. It is very dangerous. It's for kind of an unusual reason. And
well, but this is the myth. This is the archetype of manliness in our time. Are you man enough to have been on those boats at D-Day and stormed the beaches of Normandy alongside your...
Yeah, I love...
That is the metric by which all men have been judged ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those stories. Anything World War II, anything I love the Pacific theater, but also the European theater as well. And those landing craft, though, taking fire, approaching the beaches, and I have nightmares about this stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's why it's such an archetypal thing against which we measure ourselves.
Well, it's also the parable of, it becomes a parable of like the weight of a life. Yeah. And these many men in their lives, and then the weight of one life versus the many. Right. And whether or not the sacrifice is worth it, and in what context, and wrestling with that reality and that question. Right. It's feral filmmaking. It's Omaha Beach, man. Yeah. And you have like you said, the landing craft explosions everywhere.
Handheld camera shots.
Yes.
Cut frame rates.
It is fast. It's violent. It's gory. It's terrifying. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a simple moral engine. Something like 5 brothers, 4 of them have been killed. Mom writes and is like, hey, will you get my one son back while he's still alive? Yeah. And so now in the midst of one of the most catastrophic
Actually, I don't
wars.
think the mom writes. I think that like
it's the war board.
Some woman that's like typing out these letters to two mothers. Like she finds this one letter and she goes, wait a second, I know this name. And she finds another and she starts putting the puzzle pieces together and runs it up the chain of command.
Like I said, it's been a little while since I've seen it. But the point is, in the midst of one of the biggest catastrophes in living memory, and it is still barely in living memory, you're asked to examine, as you were saying, Andrew, how much is one life worth, especially if it's the last living son of a mom who's given everything to her country.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it, but I guess that's what the movie's asking you to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eye Candy, it shows you in grim detail what the Western Front looked like.
It's the destroyed Western Front. You see towns that have been just pummeled by artillery and by the softening up of the beaches and German soldiers, and there's even some really weird context of like saving a life and then the danger of saving a life in the context of that German soldier who is let to live. We won't get too far into all of those details, but it's worth a watch.
For anyone, if you've never seen it, you should see it, especially if you're a dude. But, dude movies aren't just for dudes. Girls can watch them too. But
yeah, of course.
No girls allowed.
No girls allowed.
Watch Saving Private Ryan.
All right. Gladiator. This is the first one that was on multiple lists.
Was it on all of? I think it was on all of our lists, wasn't it? Was it on your list?
It didn't make Andrew's top 5.
Didn't make mine.
For shame.
It was
for shame.
It was high up on Ron and my list.
Yes. This was my favorite movie for a really long time.
It's so fantastic. I watched it when it came out like 26 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't watched it until last January, so that's a little over a year ago. And oh my gosh, there is not a wasted moment in this movie. Masculine point of view, it's Maximus Decimus Meridius going from the highest heights of the Roman Empire to the lowest of lows.
Yeah, he's like he's talking to the emperor one day, and the next thing you know, he's like wounded and out in the deserts trying to get back home.
Right, and so that's A plot is the A plot is his rise and fall, and then the B plot is the son of the emperor trying to take over, and the result of what
Commodus.
that's like for the entire empire, the entire Roman Empire. It couldn't be more archetypal and more.
Oh, it's just such a good movie.
It is fantastic, and just feral filmmaking. Oh my gosh. The scene where the Roman legion is moving towards the Germans or the Gauls or whoever the heck it is moving, and the legion is moving in sync. It is literally a machine. It looks like a factory. Yeah. It is so incredible.
And they burned down the woods to film that.
Right.
It was some area of the forest that was slated for destruction, but it is one of the most cinematographically, to use the word that I tried to coin earlier. It's gripping. It's a really gripping moment in the film, and the colors and the activity, and in the part where they cut the frame rate to show the haze of war through the snow, it's fire is it's so good.
It's fantastic. Andrew,
what is not to like about a ring of gladiators fighting against each other to the cheers of the onlookers, the bread in the circus?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just, the only thing that I would complain about really is that they didn't have any tandem bicycles for the gladiators.
Everyone knows Rome is full of tandem bicycles.
Tandem bicycles. If you saw our last podcast on Solo Mio, which was a fantastic film that didn't make the list because it's more of a date film, but there was a moment where we were talking about tandem bicycles and gladiators. So
it's not Solo Mio is not a dude film. So.
It is not
although it's about a dude.
It's kind of a dude film. It's just a dude film.
Actually, we're not going to get into it, but it kind of is a dude film.
Yeah, that's not on this list.
It's not a dude film.
Don't listen to them.
All right. Moral engine, again, it couldn't be simpler. The main character is done as wrong as he could possibly be done, and then he goes out to get revenge. Yeah, that's as simple as it gets.
What else do you need?
What else do you need?
There's a guy that's mad, and he goes and he exacts revenge. That's a movie.
Yeah,
it's a lot of movies.
The eye candy here are the outfits, the uniforms, the weapons, the battle scenes, and just some of the best choreographed fight scenes that you've ever seen.
And it has some killer lines that you'll remember forever.
Oh, yes.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not
You
entertained?
sold me queer giraffes.
I didn't say I knew him. I said he spoke to me once.
Yeah. So good.
It deserves to be number 2 on the top 5 list of dude movies.
Okay, yeah.
And the number 1 dude movie of all time.
Yes.
Master and Commander, Far Side of the World.
I thought you were going to say Masters of the Universe.
No, it is not Masters of the Universe.
Who else But Russell Crowe again.
Who has, exactly, he's the #1 dude actor. He's in the top 2 movies, Gladiator and Master and Commander. So this one, masculine point of view, it is, of course, Russell Crowe's character, who I think his last name is Aubrey, and then a whole cast of other stars who are all on the HMS Surprise with him. This ship is England.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. The ship is England.
Yes.
The ocean is a battlefield. And you have this clash of nations, but also you have the unity of just brotherhood and men, and the youngest man on the ship is 12, and he's more of a man than most men.
Yeah.
And he's more of a man than like half of his own crew, even.
And then half of his arm is less of a man than half of it.
He becomes less of a man, and he's still more of a man.
He's still more of a man,
Right.
yeah. Poor kid.
Right.
Loses his arm.
It's the Napoleonic Wars, but it's England versus France, literally on the far side of the planet, on the other side of the Americas, in the Pacific Ocean. And it's so mythic. It's about self-sacrifice. It's about keeping your word. It's about duty in the face of chaos.
Yes.
It is about just hardship and perseverance and pressing on and doing what's necessary because it is what an honorable man would do.
Yeah.
Yes, and that code is so well defined. And again, that's a thing that makes dude movies is knowing who you are, what you're supposed to do, and doing that thing no matter what.
That's exactly right. As for feral filmmaking, I mean, this has ship naval battles between the HMS Surprise and its nemesis, the Acheron, the French ship Acheron. And let me tell you, there's nothing more chaotic or feral than sea battles. And the crazy thing is, when they were making this, the whole crew lived on this 19th century sailing ship for a month. Yeah. So they're experts at what they're doing. They make it look legit. And then when the cannons are firing and the fog is going and the clouds of smoke are billowing, it's as chaotic as it could possibly get. Shards of wood are flying through people's shoulders. One guy has to have his head trepanned at one point, I think. That comes later.
Hold fast.
Yeah, they put a coin on his skull, which is amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The entire crew's just sitting around on the deck watching the doctor do brain surgery in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, and Homeboy starts quoting scripture, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They're like, what?
But at the same time, as it's this incredible, violent ship-to-ship battle thing, there is a simple moral engine, which is it's the English versus the French, but then there's also this subplot, which is Aubrey and his best friend, the ship's doctor. And there's these wonderful scenes right after a giant battle sequence where they're both in the captain's cabin playing on the cello and the violin.
Yes.
And it's just, it's amazing music.
Well, and also to that end, Sterling, there's the friendship. And so there's...
So that's the most important ship in the film. It's the friendship.
Is it about the ship or about the friends we made along the way?
You're out. Friendship. You're off the podcast.
But you're right. They have this friendship, the captain and the doctor. And that comes into a tough moment where you have to choose between a promise to a friend and a duty to one's country.
Right.
When there's an opportunity for the doctor to go ashore on the Galapagos Islands and take all of his samples and his drawings
and basically one-up Darwin.
Oh, yeah, he was going to one-up Darwin. And he would have, but he didn't have the opportunity at that moment because they found the French across the way and had to go and fight.
Well, and in fact, the doctor's the one who spots the Acheron, and he's like, I gotta tell Aubrey the Acheron's here, even though it's gonna end my day trip.
Yep. Fortunately, in the end, he does still get an opportunity, but the dynamic there is just that code and that understanding of I know what's right and I have to do what's right even when it's hard.
Yeah.
Right. So the eye candy are the Galapagos. It's the oceanscapes. It's the vessels themselves. The Surprise and the Acheron. They're both gorgeous. There is a great scene. This is not so much eye candy, but it's kind of eye candy, where you learn that the Acheron, the French ship, is actually laid down in Boston by the same shipbuilders who made the USS Constitution, which, if you don't know, is the oldest operating sailing ship in the U.S. It's the oldest military vessel in the U.S. Navy.
Yeah.
It's nicknamed Old Ironsides. It's super cool. So that's the British are fighting Old Ironsides, except it's under control of the French. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome
Super cool
movie.
film.
One of the best dude movies of all time, without a doubt.
Go see it if you haven't. You've got to.
Yes.
So we've got some other honorable mentions though.
Yes, and we would love to tell you more about them, especially because we all love them. But you're just going to get their names. Go watch these ones too. Andrew.
Yes. No Country for Old Men. based on the book from Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah.
It is a Western.
Yeah.
It is in the modern time, and it is sinister, and you got to go watch it. It's a classic.
And I'm one of those who has to go watch it. Troy, the director's cuts. This is the 2004 movie with Brad Pitt. It is the story of the Iliad, Greeks versus the Romans. This is a classic as it gets. Hector versus Achilles. Who's going to win? All right. Another one from my list, Goldfinger, James Bond. You know, this is, as far as I'm concerned, the Sean Connery James Bond movie. A dude gets sucked out of an airplane window.
Yes.
Enough said. You know everything you need. Andrew,
Yes.
this one is yours.
Open Range. Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall. Classic cowpunchers. Just the dichotomy of the free, open cowpuncher versus the cattle baron. Huge gunfight. Right versus wrong. The American West.
And you got to have
Yeah.
a Western in a list of dude movies, obviously.
Absolutely.
A few Westerns.
And,
course
and for
we
those
do.
of you that don't know, cowpunchers are those who beat up cows. They punch them in
Yes.
the face.
Like
Yeah.
Rocky. Rocky's
like
a
Rocky.
cowpuncher.
Yeah, he would be a cowpuncher,
Yes.
except that he beat dead cows. Cowpunchers
Yeah.
back in the day would punch living cows in the
Okay.
face.
I'm maintaining that
Yeah,
Rocky is a
I'm
cowpuncher.
just going to hold to that. That's not true, but I'm sticking by it.
All right. Top 5 dude movies of all time: Master and Commander,
Yeah.
Gladiator, Saving Private Ryan, Braveheart, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
So good.
That's a great marathon.
That's a
for
killer
anybody.
Yes. Get your popcorn.
Yeah.
Beverage of choice. Sit down. Enjoy the weekend.
Let us know, are there any glaring omissions from this list? I
Yeah.
think it's a pretty darn good list, but you've probably got some suggestions that we should watch too. So let us know.
Yes.
The most recent movie on our top 5 list, guys, is
Yeah.
like 2003. I think that's when Master and Commander came out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, of the top 5, all the best dude movies are 20 plus years old
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's like Hollywood is falling off or something like that.
or not making good movies or don't care about dude movies.
Yep. We'll leave you with that. You've got your homework. Go watch these movies, especially the ones you haven't seen yet. But the ones you've seen, go watch them again.
Yeah, there will
They're
be a
really good.
quiz next week.
Yes.
Leave us a comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us what we missed. We would love to review them next.
Absolutely. All right, we are the Pop Culture Contrarians. Andrew, Ron, and Sterling. We are the
And
Pop
I
Culture
don't.
Contrarians. We're brought to you by the Patriot Post, which is the oldest conservative news digest on the
And the
web.
best.
Go like and subscribe to that. Leave us a comment. Let us know what we should talk about next. Leave us a 5-star review. Talk about how awesome we are. Tell your friends. And we'll see you next time. I think that's all we've got. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Later.